Hello, my name is Dragana Patargi, and I will be discussing two different research articles on mixed methods approaches when looking at parental burden regards to autism spectrum disorder. So, the burden that parents experience having children who meet that criteria. So, the first study I will be discussing is by Chad Friedman and colleagues, and the full name of that study is Characteristics and Experiences of Parents of Children with Learning and Attention Disabilities and Autism Spectrum Disorder, a mixed method study. And the study was really based off of the phenomenological theory of parental burnout that basically states that parental stress and burnout is higher among parents who have children with autism spectrum or in this case as well with learning and attention disabilities. And the purpose really of applying mixed method design for the study was to examine characteristics and experiences of stress and coping. It was a qualitative component of 20 semi-structured focus group interviews, which comprised of 9 parents who had children with autism and 11 who had children with learning and attention disabilities. And the quantitative component was a battery of self-report measures of stress and coping. And that sample was a little bit larger with 51 parents who had children with autism, and then 53 who had children with learning and attention disabilities. And the findings were that from a qualitative perspective was that parents of both groups experience similar sources of stress, but there's different intensities, and the quantitative component actually validated that there is greater intensity and stress among parents with children who have autism as opposed to learning and attention disabilities. And also the quantitative findings reinforce that higher stress with, again, parents that have children with autism, in addition to more complicated and poor sleep. And then the more overtly visible the challenges are, the higher the stress of the parents was. And this particular study was explanatory sequential mixed methods design, and that was for the intent of explaining quantitative results with qualitative data by connecting the two, and that's what this study accomplished. And they were hoping that the findings will aid in targeted stress and intervention. So to sum up the study, the weight of both quantitative and qualitative approaches was equal. However, the quantitative components did set up for more of in-depth interviews of the qualitative piece. And so each brought a unique perspective, but they both complemented each other. And the quantitative build off of the qualitative. And then the timing, quantitative was conducted first, and then based on that data, they were able to select a fewer families to do more of the qualitative in-depth. And again, the mixing was the explanatory sequential mixed methods design. And again, it was with hopes of developing and assessing a stress management intervention for both groups of parents. And then the theory was based off of that greater phenomenological theory on parental burnout. That completes that first research study. The second one is by Villanova and colleagues, and the full name of that study is Burden of Mothers of Children Diagnosed with Autism Spectrum Disorder, a mixed method study. And this was more of a exploratory design. So the study, again, focused on burdens of mothers with children who, with mothers of children who have ASD. And it was a mixed method sequential exploratory design, and really it was looking for, the study was hoping to have qualitative data improve on quantitative measures, which is what it accomplished. So there was 51 mothers who participated in the quantitative phase, and then there was again a special selection of 6 mothers for the qualitative in-depth interview. This was a Brazilian study, and the timeline was from January to October of 2019. Qualitative phase was comprised of semi-structured interviews, and then the actual qualitative was a caregiver burden inventory scale, but in Brazil they call it Zarit burden interview instrument, and demographic, economic, and children care form, which was used for the quantitative phase. And the study overall, the theory was based off of the World Health Organization, their epidemiological standpoint on autism, that it is becoming more prevalent globally, so there's more concern in studying it. The study was divided into 2 phases, with phase 1 being quantitative, and then phase 2 was qualitative. So again, it is considered a exploratory design because the qualitative data basically can improve on quantitative measures. Study was again divided into 2 phases. First one was the quantitative, and then the qualitative in-depth interviews. Qualitative results were mobilized for a more in-depth analysis of the quantitative results, resulting in mixing of data. And mixing occurred with quantitative results impacting how many in-depth interviews would occur within the qualitative data collection. And then the overall results were that 76.5% of mothers had some degree of burden, which was categorized from mild to moderate. So that completes this presentation, and this is a reference page reinforcing the credentials of the 2 studies. Thank you so much.